I'm Isaiah Taylor. I'm the founder and CEO of a nuclear startup in Los Angeles called Valar Atomics. I'm super excited to tell you all about it. But first, I have a much more important question for you, and that is, who are you? You are the people of Builderland, right? You are the citizens of the maker country. You see, it was in America where the first airplanes flew, where electricity first sparked, the home of the first phone call and the first smartphone, the first moon landing, and the first connection of the internet. It's also where the first nuclear reactors were built. This is the first one here on the left. That's the Chicago Pow 1. It was built under the football stands at the University of Chicago, where my great-grandfather was a grad student. Then he moved to Oak Ridge, the secret city, where they built the X-10 right there. So as an American, you were the people that built the first nuclear reactors in the world. And not only were you the first to nuclear, you were the winners at energy writ large. You produced more energy than any other country on Earth by a huge margin. In fact, the runner-up on this chart is actually not a country, it's a continent, right? The runner-up on that is the EU. So there's not even really a second place in the country list. And as you know, it turns out that having a lot of energy matters a lot. There's a ton of ripple effects to having a lot of energy. So Charles Hall invented aluminum electrolysis in Ohio, and America used her energy dominance to produce nearly half the aluminum in the world. I don't know if you could see the chart over there, but that's global share of aluminum production. It was about almost 50%. And in steel, it was even more. We were making 60% of steel in the entire world, and both of these were driven by having a lot of energy. In fact, you were the country that made 40% of all manufactured goods, right? Like, that's extraordinary. Think about that. If you walk around the world and pick up something that is built, 40% of the time it was built right here. So I ask again, who are you? You are a nation of builders, of creators, inventors, energy producers, and people who use that energy to make things, right? Well, there's one more piece of our history that you need to know about. In the 1970s, this nation faced a very important choice, which concerned how we get the power to make the things that we make. Because remember, it takes energy to do all these things. It takes energy to make steel. It takes energy to make aluminum and to run mills and lathes. In the 70s, we were faced with this question: how are we going to make our energy? And the contest was between two powerful rivals: coal, right on the left side there, coal, the sort of dirty, dangerous, yet undisputed powerhouse of the world, and nuclear, which is this, up and comer, which promised the cheapest energy we've ever seen, and it's totally clean, but it had these difficult associations with nuclear weapons. And so in the 1970s, nuclear and coal were neck and neck. They were both around 3 cents a kilowatt hour in today's dollars, with nuclear slightly beating coal on long-term price. So which one did our nation choose? Which source did we decide would be the fuel of the next generation of American manufacturing? What did we decide? We chose neither, right? So shockingly, we chose to do neither of them. We stopped building coal because we believed it was polluting the air, and we stopped building nuclear after 3 Mile Island. So in choosing between two stools with our future on the line, this nation fell right in between. And you might wonder, am I exaggerating? I mean, sure, we didn't build as many coal plants, so that clearly drops off. The nuclear really drops off, so we stopped building power. But what was the actual impact? What does that mean in the real world? Well, you remember a minute ago, these charts that I showed, we make 60% of the steel, we make 40% of the aluminum, 40% of all manufactured goods. Well, the secret is I cut those charts off in the 1950s. Those charts did not go to the current day, especially in power production, right? The United States was the number one, and the EU was the next, was the runner-up. That chart ended in the 1960s. So where are we today? So U.S. basically stopped energy growth in its tracks, and China surged ahead. But what does it actually mean? We need to get into the actual materiality of this. What does it really mean? Well, remember we talked about steel and aluminum being an issue of builders. All of those things take energy. This is what happened to steel and aluminum. So this is steel, right? U.S. is down here in this little cluster. China has gone vertical. This is share of global aluminum production. you can hardly even see where the US is on the graph anymore. China's not plotted up here, but by the way, China's about 90%. Let's think about ships, right? So this is US shipbuilding capacity. There's a proportion here. This will make sense in a second, but if you can't see it, there's a little blue ship underneath the United States flag there. And what we're going to do is we're going to show Chinese shipmaking capacity marked against that in the same scale per tonnage, right? All right, let's see how many ships are up there. All right, that's not great. Actually, that's really, really bad. We essentially don't make ships anymore, and China makes all of them. What about cars though, right? Because listen, we have a huge love affair with cars in the United States, right? Like we invented mass manufacturing of cars. We all love our cars. So surely at least that we must still be ahead. This is what it looks like in cars. Once again, the United States is in the far bottom right corner there, and China has gone vertical. You, Americans, you nation of builders, are not building things anymore. And the irony of this is that what we decided to do instead, which is software, right? So the one place in the United States actually was dominant, where we actually really made the best in the world, software, turns out to be the most energy consumptive industry of them all, right? We thought that we could get out of our power woes by moving to software and winning at that. And then it turns out that software actually needs more power than steel. So this is a battle that we cannot afford to lose. AI is a civilizational level technology, right? We can't afford to lose this. If we're going to lose this, it's like losing on electricity, or like losing on flight, or on the internet, or on going to the moon. So what are we doing about it? Right? I mean, surely somebody must be doing something. The decline has been happening for years. We've known about this for a few years. So surely by now, we must have hundreds of new nuclear reactors under construction, right, to catch up and finally get back in the saddle, right? This is net nuclear capacity under construction today. Once again, China is that top bar far and away. And I don't know if you could see the labels. US is like somewhere in the middle. Oh, wait. No, sorry. There's no bar for the United States. We have 0 commercial nuclear reactors under construction in the United States. So why am I telling you this? I'm not telling you this to try to depress you. I'm telling you this because there's a glimmer of hope. And there's a glimmer of hope because 16 months ago, I assembled the greatest team of nuclear physicists, engineers, and manufacturers in the world who all understood the importance of this mission. I named this small team Valar, which is the Elvish word for power, because we're going to make power. And it's also the name of the ancient spirits of Middle-earth that sort of make the wheels turn in the background without anybody really noticing that they're there. We started small, the best engineers in the world, few in number, but eager to build. And right now, I'd actually like to show you a little piece of what we built. So this is our first nuclear reactor. And if we stay on schedule, this will be the first small modular reactor to split the atom on American soil ever. And what's crazy is that the team at Valar Atomics built this in only 10 months. From hiring the first engineer to that video being filmed of the final assembly where we held pressure for the first time was 10 months. And I knew that this was possible because when my great-grandfather worked on the Manhattan Project, they built the first nuclear reactor in history in 8 months. We're 70 years later and actually took me 2 months longer. So I got to catch up a little bit. And it got even better actually, because with this administration, we've actually been given a mandate. Thanks to Executive Order 14301, signed by President Trump in May, we're actually on track to split the atom before July 4th of next year. In just under 2 years, we've created a chance and a pathway for America to win once again and have the cheapest and the most energy in the world, just like we did, so we can actually build things again. And don't get me wrong, the problem in front of us is absolutely enormous. We've stopped building power. We don't have enough power to make all the things that we need to make. But we also have a secret weapon. The secret weapon is American resolve and ingenuity. It's the same weapon that won World War II and took us from a far second place in the space race to all-time champions. It's the same secret weapon that took an aged-out space industry and turned it into the global marvel that puts 90% of Earth mass into orbit per year. We're going to use that secret weapon to split the atom next year in our first nuclear reactor and prove definitively that America is building again. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to build another one and another one and another one. We're going to build hundreds of reactors in our factory until our energy is so cheap that there's no better place to make steel and aluminum than right here in the United States on our power campuses. Until there's no better way to run a robotic factory than powered by our electricity. Until America is the cheapest and fastest possible way to make an AI data center or an AI factory. In any fight, you need an unfair advantage. You need a secret weapon. Valar Atomics is America's secret weapon. We are going to make the power again. And you, Americans, will make everything else. Thank you.